Hey, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to another Pokemon Sword and Shield video. In this video, I'm going to be going over how to hatch eggs super fast, and I'm also going to be going over the best possible shiny hatching method in the game. Now, as always, before we go ahead and get started, if you guys do enjoy this video and find it helpful, please feel free to hit that like button down below. I'd really appreciate it. And if you guys do want to see more Pokemon Sword and Shield content like this in the future, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button down below as well. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so the first thing that I want to go over is that you are going to need a Ditto. Now in order to get a Ditto in game, there are a couple ways of doing this. One of those ways is actually to get it in the wild. Now in order to get Ditto in the wild, you're going to have to complete all the way up to the 6th gym leader. Then after that, you can actually get access to the Road and Water Bicycle, which you are going to need to access the Lake of Outrage in the wild area. So at the Lake of Outrage, that is actually where you find Ditto in the wild. And as you can see on screen right now, Ditto is actually like really small, and he definitely blends in the grass. Like, it took me a really long time to find my first Ditto because I wasn't aware how small Ditto actually was on the map. And compared to a lot of the other Pokemon that are just much larger, you just really can overlook it. So if you're going to be hunting Ditto in the wild, definitely make sure to walk like really slowly and look on the edges. Ditto is around there. Just go through the 3 patches over and over again and you will most likely find it pretty fast. But once again, guys, it is actually really small, so just make sure that you are looking very carefully for it. Okay, so now the other way to get Ditto is from max raid battles. Now the reason I don't really like this method of getting Ditto is because getting it from a max raid battle is going to be a random encounter. There's no specific raid battle location that is going to have Ditto, and that's kind of the most unfortunate part. There is a possibility that it could be at any of the max raid battles during the time that you are playing the game. I'm not entirely sure if weather affects anything like that, but regardless, it just seems like a really big unknown factor. And in my opinion, I just think it's a lot easier to go through and beat the 6th gym leader, get the Road and Water Bicycle, and just catch it in the wild. So now that you have a Ditto, the next thing that we're going to be going over is that you need to have a female version of the Pokemon that you want to breed. Now for example, if I went into the Daycare Center and I put my Ditto in, I cannot put a male Scorbunny, it has to be a female Scorbunny. Basically, the Pokemon that is going to hatch from the egg is always going to be from the female. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the 2 different Daycares. Now, some people might think that one Daycare is better than the other, but they're both basically the same. Honestly, whichever Daycare you go to, it really doesn't make that big of a difference. The first Daycare is going to be on Route 5, and the second Daycare is going to be in the wild area, and I will have the locations up on the screen right now so you guys can see exactly where that is going to be. Now the next thing that you guys need to get is a Pokemon with the ability Flame Body. A couple Pokemon that actually get access to this ability are going to be the Litwick evolution line, Carkol and Colossal that evolve from Roly-Coly, and then the Sizzlipede line. And so you basically just need to have one of those Pokemon in your Pokemon team, and the reason for this is because when you actually have a Pokemon with the ability Flame Body, this actually makes the eggs hatch in 1/2 of the normal time. So you're basically getting reduced distance by having a Pokemon with the ability Flame Body. That's super important, guys, for hatching eggs. It is going to speed things up tremendously. Now something else I also wanted to mention really fast is that certain type Pokemon do actually take a little bit longer to hatch. So if your Pokemon, for example, is a Dragon type, it's going to take a lot longer to hatch compared to a Fire type Pokemon. And so if you guys are wondering why your eggs are taking forever to hatch, it could be because you're actually trying to hatch a Dragon type Pokemon, or maybe something else along those lines. Now I don't know the specifics of how much longer it is going to take, but I just wanted to make that fact aware to you guys. So once you guys have that ready to go, the next thing that you want to do is you want to get your Pokemon with Flame Body and you want to put it in your number 1 spot. And then you want to leave the remaining 5 slots open for eggs. Then get on your bike and basically just ride around in circles using the boost whenever you can. And you want to pretty much do this until the egg hatches or until the breeder crosses their arms, which basically means that they have a new egg for you. The egg cycle is supposed to be 257 steps, but that does not mean that you're going to always get an egg. And there are actually ways of increasing the odds of getting an egg though from the breeder. The first one is going to be, instead of using Ditto, actually use a male and a female version of the Pokemon that you were trying to breed. So for example, I said Scorbunny earlier, right, with Ditto. So you basically just want to use a male Scorbunny and a female Scorbunny, and that is actually going to increase the chances of you getting an egg from the breeder. Now of course, you're going to have to use Ditto in order to get the male and the female versions if you only have the female version to begin with. So of course, that's why I did mention Ditto early on. Ditto is kind of like the initial starter, and then once you got your male and your female version, you want to go with that instead because you're going to have a better chance to actually get eggs from the breeder. Now additionally, there's also something called the Oval Charm, and basically you can get this from a post-game battle with Morimoto Morimoto, and what this is going to do is this is also going to increase the odds of you getting an egg from the breeder. So combine these two together and you're most likely going to get an egg pretty much all the time. Now in order to get the oval charm, you're going to have to complete the main storyline first, at which point you unlock a post-game battle with Morimoto in the Sirchester City. This is where the 6th gym leader was. Morimoto is going to give you a team battle, which is actually pretty challenging, so you definitely want to make sure that your Pokemon are ready to go for this battle, because it's definitely not going to be easy. But if you guys do want to increase your odds in every possible way and get that oval charm, then I definitely recommend doing this after you complete the main storyline. Now there is actually one more thing I do want to cover before we start jumping into the shiny odds and the Masuda method, and that is going to be the rubber band method. Now this is actually something that I don't recommend that you guys do because it can cause serious drift on your Joy-Cons or on your Pro Controller, and that is actually something that is really bad and something that is super annoying to deal with. I actually know personally because my left Joy-Con actually has a little bit of drift, and so whenever I'm playing games like Super Smash Bros, it actually does affect me quite a bit. So that's definitely something I don't recommend that you do, but what exactly is the rubber band method, right? So the rubber band method is basically when you get a rubber band and you put it between both control sticks and you have the horizontal camera controls on inverted, and essentially you just ride around your bike in a circle and you don't have to do anything, but this isn't really super necessary because you're gonna hatch eggs so fast that it's not gonna be a big deal if you're just doing this manually without the rubber band method. And so I definitely don't recommend that you guys do this because you really don't want to have those drift issues on your Joy-Cons or on your Pro Controller. These are very expensive controllers, and honestly, it's kind of a pain to have to replace them. I know Nintendo does actually cover the Joy-Cons, but I mean, you don't really want to go through that process, right? But that decision is ultimately up to you. I wanted to cover it in this video just because I know some of you guys are actually using that currently right now. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the Masuda method now and the shiny odds. So first of all, what exactly is the Masuda method? This is something that I personally did not know about until very recently. Essentially, it is regional Pokemon breeding. So for example, let's say that you get a Ditto that's from Japan, right? You trade it with someone who's in Japan, you guys both swap Dittos and stuff like that. Now, normally shiny odds, full odds, are going to be 1 out of 4,096. With the shiny charm, it is going to be 1 out of 1,365. And now with the Masuda method, it is going to be 1 out of 682, and then with the shiny charm, it is going to be 1 out of 512. So you can see right there, compared to full odds being 1 out of 4,096, and then going down to 1 out of 682, that is a significant increase, guys. And the fact that this Masuda method is actually possible in Pokemon Sword and Shield, everyone should be doing it. The biggest challenge though is actually getting a regional Ditto. Now you don't actually need a regional Ditto specifically. You could have, for example, like a regional Score Bunny with a Ditto that's, you know, from your region, and that could totally work under the Masuda method. But getting a regional Ditto is going to allow you to breed so many other Pokemon because Ditto can be used for basically anything. So it makes more sense to get a regional Ditto rather than a different regional Pokemon. And so basically in order to do this, you just have to find someone who plays in a different language and who has Ditto in their language respectively, and you guys can just basically just trade Ditto 1 for 1, and it's really as simple as that. I would say that the most difficult part is actually just finding someone to trade with, but if you guys can do that, then you should be fine. And basically you just follow the same exact methods that I mentioned earlier on in the video. This is basically just for shiny odds. That's the only difference with the Masuda method. Everything else that I mentioned in this video is still going to stay relevant as far as how you hatch eggs super fast, but as far as getting your best shiny hatching odds, you're gonna want to go with the Masuda method. So with that being said, that is basically everything that I needed to cover in this video. Hopefully you guys understand how to hatch eggs super fast now, and you're going to get tons of shinies from it. I'm definitely really excited to get a regional Ditto and try this out myself. We'll most likely be doing it on a live stream format in the future, so definitely make sure to subscribe if you guys do want to see content like that. And if you guys did find this video helpful and informative, definitely make sure to hit that like button down below as well. I would really appreciate it, and I will see you all real soon in the next one.